Hello everyone, this is Ray, just giving another update as usual. So, what we're going to get into here is showing some things that I've just recently updated, so let's get to it. Alright. I now have all for general settings instead of a bunch of different areas that use other. I have collectibles, specifically for the glowing orbs. If I set something as a food item, like in supplies, that represents some of the fruit that I've been picking up. Of course, nothing else will show. And other thing with the supplies, with picking up, or not supplies, but build, if, you know, the logs that you see, there it is. Of course, then we go back up here, and we got everything here, and what I last selected is still doing the whole pulsey thing. So, we finally got that working. With the avatar thing, you will notice that I had added another thing for animated. The point of that is for like animated objects that maybe like the character is wearing wings that have the ability to flap and like make your character fly or something like that. I also established a little bit better interaction UI with this character. I'm going to try to do better with the NPCs over here. But now with these little guys, I can have them, oh, you want to get smart with me? Well, now I got a way to smacking them back when they misbehave. So you can see that that little thing takes some damage, and it's like, uh-oh, I pissed him off. And so I've been training those little guys. And then here we go. Now these both would go just in the specialty, so it doesn't really matter. But I do have them set up now to actually act as a form of food too for these characters. If they see them, they can eat them. I got this pool basically as a spot for where you can get, you know, health at. And I'm going to try to get the colors to be a little bit more diverse. Like when they're in a good mood, I'm going to have to make them a little bit more pink. I'm trying to get them to do that with their own shader. I'm also trying to figure out how to keep the shaders when like these characters that have them on there for their slime look, using that to, with the bubbles and everything else inside, don't get kind of like clipped with each other. And I'm not sure if that one's going to show it or not. But yeah, there you go, the slight little glitch. So I'm hoping to get that done. When they do that kind of weird clippy glowy thing, they're actually in a good mood. Now the thing that they've learned is that from earlier I was using a chop method to take the trees down. So they think that if they spit at it and use their little shooter thing, they can you know, maybe knock a tree down for some food, since I was feeding them stuff like that earlier. And then I can go like right here and do all and drop them some food. You're interesting. Okay. What are you doing? I'm gonna try to make him a little smarter. What's that? You walked into it. You got that little color change again when it wants attention. And I don't have the ability to actually interact in that way yet. And And the little chirpy sounds and stuff will have different tones for different things. But that's until I can find some better audio systems for that. Right now I'm basically using some old sci-fi shooter type things because I just don't have anything else right now. And eventually I'm going to come up with some kind of like, sound like that, or, some kind of spit sound when it's shooting those out, since they're supposed to be spitballs. And that's another of their indications that they're in a frustration or anger mood. I want to eat something. I'm starving. Okay. Come here. And there's the happy look. And it's like, stay with me. I'm hungry. That's a different shade of red, but it's still trying to fire on things here to get, food out of them. And other times it just does that out of frustration. But they're basically spitballs. But yeah, we got the categories now working. Basically, when you create an item, you have to select what category it goes under, things like that, and then what have you. Like in this example, if you have a list here, you've got all this stuff. Put avatar in there, you got the whole list right here, and so on. So the goal will be to try to get these things being read from the inventory manager, so that when other people create their stuff, it'll go into the right area with, their different options there. You don't need to fire on the food, you little shit. And then you have the fire, you can use the arrow to point. I did it this way so that you can still select onto other things and not accidentally have a fire off, so have to actually do the fire, and you can use the arrow to kind of target where you're going to shoot. I think a little bit later on, to make it even more effective, have your character actually turn the direction he's shooting. But I don't want to get too far into that area because I don't want to mess that up when we got things already working. But eventually we're going to do something similar, but this with like the actual holding whatever is shooting whatever. Right now this is just a basic setup to get the core functions and triggers and all that other stuff working. So there you go. And we'll go ahead and close that out. I forgot one more thing, since I don't remember if it was in the last video or not. When it comes to the avatars and everything else, you're going to have a selection of male avatars if you're a male character, and female avatar images if you're a female, for what you display is in here. Of course, it won't be necessarily related to what your particular character form is. So there's that. And we still have everything else functioning with this. Still goes AFK next to your name in clan. Still goes completely invisible in world. I'm probably going to come up with some way of making a dummy mail system that I'll at least get the core stuff in place, so that we can connect that in later when it goes online. And I'll probably do something like that with this list, and it might be kind of hard for you to see it on the screen. I'll try to open it up more. Basically, I'm going to set it up to where people is like general people in world, friends is who's in your friend list, band is whoever you put in your block settings, If you find somebody in world listed in here, you can also type their name and see if it comes up. And then do it that way, select, and put them in the banned list. The same way too if you want to add to a friend. And then we'll be using clear to clear friends or banned list. Obviously not clearable with people in world. And then it'll show how many people are online, how many friends you have that are online, and then the ability to invite, but I'm probably going to do some kind of other split thing, maybe make this a little bit wider so we can get a little bit better view. Or just click it as like a world notice and then it'll pop up in here. So try to get them, you know what, actually I think that would actually be better instead of directly bugging people by constantly having little pop-up windows for invite. Let them check their own mail, and if they're interested, they select it, they go. But then they'll have a link that will generate pretty much the same way as when we create and save a site here. The difference is when you do the invitation to the location, it'll pop up and then be more like a link in here so you can like go to it or whatever. Or just try to set it up here where you can probably put a spot in here too, like at the bottom where I search a location. I'm just trying to keep it all pretty much interconnected but simple and easy to find. It's just a matter of figuring out the layout to get more in. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm kind of like indecisive right now on those parts. So I'm just trying to think about how to make it really simple and easy so people can get right in and get going. Have the social interaction options, have the ability to upload and build stuff, have people create, you know, like the main materials for building, constructing, whatever. Have this hub area, you know, cleaned out, making an actual hub. This is entirely testing ground, by the way. But first landing is the plan to have as the main central hub. And I've already solved the persistence issue with this character in the camera. So I'm now able to keep the audio directly on the character, which eliminates some of the earlier issues. And that way you'll actually hear things from where the player is and not where your camera is. The reason for that is you want to actually hear from, you know, where the character's at in the world. So, you know, like, you don't want to constantly be here and have it louder based on where your camera's at. You want it to be where the player's at. So that's how I solved it. And the way it works too is when it dies, it does the respawn and doesn't lose anything and doesn't throw any more warnings out. And so the camera can also find the player quicker. And then I'm going to be working on some kind of persistent thing. So if I leave an area with the characters in it, the characters will remain as NPCs or what have you. Not just, you know, drag and drop into the world, but like these guys when they spawn in, unless they've been eliminated, to try and get it to where they actually stay in their locations. Eventually I want to fix their intelligence a little bit more so they can decide whether or not they adopt you, as it were. And it now knows that that's no longer food. I changed the settings on it. be demanding and rude. That's for hitting me. Be nice. Yeah. Try to sugar talk. But yeah, I'll give them more intelligence so that they can communicate a little bit better. And they need to also figure out how to get it to where if they're talking with each other, it indicates that's what's going on there. I also don't have any of the other selections like when we go over to these other NPCs. So just do that, and this not exactly working great with the selections with them. And yes, if I leave that item right here, it will get picked. It will, what was I thinking? It will continue to remain in this location. So if I shut off the game and restarted it, it would stay. So that's just something to be applied to other things in here. Also, aside from using E to activate different things or picking up, I'm using E specifically for these kind of functions like chop, so making the controls a lot simpler. Hey, little rude dude. That's a spanking time. Yeah. So anyway, like I was saying, don't shoot at me again. It thinks it can get healed by going back to that one, but it can actually only get healed by going over to this one. And see, it learned. So there we are, folks. May as well pick these up. And then I'm going to close this up. So you got any suggestions for how I should string together those particular options there with the world friends, whatever the invite mail thing? Like I said, I'm open to taking suggestions on how to bring it all together. And then I'm going to work on trying to have something with like listed AOP so we can move to that part. Oh, and yeah, I made those shaders too, so that's stuff I learned to do on my own. I like these ones actually, but hey, whatever. Okay, so that's really about it. Oh yeah, and that still works too, just so you know. I'm going to try to get it to have a timer, but also put things kind of like on pause for you, but not necessarily everyone else in the world, obviously. So, thank you very much for taking time to watch the updates, and stay safe, everybody.